Hey everyone, my name is Kyle, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to write a press release. And I know it's a very niche, calm topic, but hopefully, if you guys stick with me, you'll have a new genre of writing to be able to produce by the end of this presentation. So just let me share my screen real quick. You guys can see that, hopefully. Let's get right into it. So, how to write a press release. So, first of all, what is a press release? Press release is an official statement given on behalf of an organization to news media when something newsworthy occurs. It's written in AP style, and that's very important. I'll talk about that a little bit later. And that just refers to the guidelines set by the Associated Press. And AP style is very important. It's basically the difference between having your press release actually picked up and used and having it tossed in the garbage. It should not exceed more than 1 page, and it should be entirely factual, except for the quote should be an opinion, which we'll get more into that later. So there's 8 parts to a press release. These are all very important, so I'll go over them real quick. So first is the headline, then the subhead, place and dateline, intro/lead, body, boilerplate, contact info, ending, and these 8 parts we'll get more into them as the presentation goes on. So first, the headline. So the headline determines essentially if the release is worth reading or not. It's a huge impact on search engine optimization, which is very, you guys know what that is. So a lot of the keywords in the headline, when you search them on browsers like Google, things like that, those keywords will come up, and you want more keywords so they come up first in those searches. The headline should be well written and compelling. Should be about 65 to 80 characters, including spaces, and make sure to include the brand name and the news being announced. So as you guys can see on the bottom there, new Donate Life America initiatives highlighted at White House Oregon Summit, and eBay Inc. names Jamie Iannone Chief Executive Officer. So second one, who's announcing it? eBay. What are they announcing? This guy is their CEO. So next is the subhead. The subhead elaborates on the headline news that we just saw in the last slide. It gives the reader a better idea on the content of the release instead of just basic info from the headline. Includes one or more keywords. Again, with that SEO, that search engine optimization, you want your press release viewed as many times as possible, and you do that through search. And don't just repeat the info in the headline. You'll see this a lot with poorly written press releases, and you want to elaborate more on the news on the headline. So just some examples on the left, Amazon announces first fulfillment center in Republic, Missouri. And the subhead you can see below is highlighted, elaborates on what the headline is saying. And then I included this one on the right because most of the time the subhead will just be a quick sentence or fragment sentence. But there's been this new trend within press releases and PR in general that your subheads will be bullets, basically 3 main points from the press release, so they're easily accessible for journalists. So that's just a new trend that you'll see a lot of journalists doing. So I included that in there. Next is place and dateline. So make sure to include the headquarters of the brand or where the news is coming from. So the city and state in AP style, like I said, is important. And make sure to reference your AP style, but for these capitalization and punctuation rules. Sometimes different cities, different countries have different abbreviations, different punctuation, capitalization rules, and stuff like that. So make sure to check your AP style book. And just an example at the bottom, you can see I had the dateline. So New York, June 12th, 2020, all AP style. Next ones are intro/lead, always written in the third person and focuses on the 5 W's, the who, what, when, where, why. Emphasizes the most important aspects of the news, and you want to be as specific as possible when you're writing the intro and lead, and minimize exaggeration, and very important, use strong verbs to make the reader want to keep reading. If you're not using strong verbs, then it's not very enticing to a reader. So for an example, you can see the arrow on the left is pointing to the intro. You can see it comes after the dateline, and the dateline's in AP style, like I mentioned before, and it goes a little bit more in depth than the headline and the body. Next is body paragraph. So it expands on the lead, and that introductory statement really answers why the reader should care and what makes your news special. Typically around 400 to 500 words, including the lead, and it gets straight to the point. And you also want to avoid sales pitch language and industry jargon. Sometimes it's inevitable that you're going to have to use it, especially when it's like announcing a product and stuff like that. But you want to avoid that as much as possible. And then also, this is very important, it includes a credible quote. So the quote shouldn't be too long. It should be about 1 to 2 sentences. More likely than not, it's going to be an opinion, and you want it from a person with importance in the company. So you don't want just some Joe Schmo talking about your product. You want hopefully a C-level executive, if not someone that has decision-making power within your company. So you can just see the outline of this press release for Apple right now. You can see the first body is that few sentences that have an actual lead, then the quotes in the middle, and the second body paragraph after that. Next is the boilerplate, which is also a very important part of the press release. They're all important, but boilerplate you'll see in essentially every press release. So boilerplate is essentially a summary of the company bio, and you should include links if available. So you can see I include this one about Domino's Pizza. Shows a lot of statistics in there. Basically, just highlights what the company is about and the company history and things like that. So it's just easy for journalists to grab and place that in their articles to get your company the most positive exposure possible. Next is contact info. So you're going to want to include your PR or media contact info. So journalists, again, easily grab this if they have questions. You can set up meetings with them, calls, emails, whatever it may be, so they can basically get in contact with you. And if they have any more questions on the news that's being announced, you're able to go more in depth with them, especially if that's a publication that is really pushing to have an article about whatever your news is. And then the ending. So the ending is 3 pound signs just to signify the end of the release. This is really fallen out of trend with a lot of PR professionals, but it's good to see those 3 pound signs at the bottom of the press release just to make sure this is the end of the release and there's nothing that I'm missing, and this is all the news that's included. So you can see in this example press release has essentially everything top to bottom, and then at the bottom you can see those 3 pound signs to signify the end of the release. So that's just a quick debriefing of how to write a press release. If you guys have any questions, let me know, and I hope you learned something, because that would be